Alright, I've been meaning to do this forever. I'm going to try to finally fix this freaking dent in the bumper of the RSX here, and it drives me crazy because that lip hanging down there. Anytime I go over anything or on, you know, gravel roads or whatever, it just scrapes on every little divot. It's been driving me crazy. So before we run out of hot days here, it's supposed to be in the 90s today, I'm going to pop this guy off. And basically just, I didn't want to try to pop that out while it's, you know, cold out because it might crack or whatever. So I'm going to set it out in the sun, get it nice and hot, and try to pop that dent out after I get it off here. Of course, we had all these other issues with this thing. I mean, it's broke. You can see it's got a bunch of zip ties. I showed it in earlier videos, and nothing lines up right because it's just all busted up. Obviously, they hit something with it before I bought it. But try to do something a little better than the way it's hung. I'm not worried about it being perfect because obviously this thing's a beater. You know, if you guys seen earlier videos and all the hail damage and rust and dents and all that. So, but I at least want to get that popped out and see if I can get it hung a little better. So there's some of the zip ties there where they're supposed to be, you know, little plastic buttons like that. And I had to redo this after I got it too because it about fell off on me or ran into the car. I was gonna say, like, there's got to be some little bolts and stuff somewhere. And of course, you know, it's missing stuff and the bottom piece is missing. But man, like this, I don't know, this whole thing's trying to come off here. Cut these zip ties and the whole thing might come off. I'm not sure. There should be a few bolts here and there, though. Bro, are you serious? Any of you guys already know if you have an RSX. I just cut those and pulled on it and it literally just popped right off. Like, is that all it's held on to by from the factory? So this is hanging on here, and even this, we got a zip tie there that just needs cut, and then a little plastic push pin up in there. That's all that's holding this on there. And like I said, this piece here is completely absent from that side. But yeah, I did not see any bolts. There's no bolts holding it on. It's just a bunch of plastic clips, I guess. I should just drive around without the bumper cover on there and be like, oh yeah, it's turbo. That's why I got the bumper. Good thing this is securely mounted. So was this the fluid for the, you know, the wiper, the windshield, and they literally have it zip tied around the neck of that reservoir there so it doesn't fall down and get ran over. That was it. I cut that one tie there and the whole thing, so I cut like 4 zip ties and the whole thing fell off. Now obviously you can see all those holes there where they're supposed to be, you know, presumably pins. Like I said, I've never, this is like the easiest thing ever, even if it wasn't broke, because I don't think there's any actual bolts. It's all these things. So good thing I got a big set of them, so I can actually, depending on what's ripped off on here or not ripped off, potentially, you know, put it back on, you know, semi correctly with the little push buttons like it's supposed to be. And you can see some of the damage down here from that, so that's why my windshield squirties don't work there, I think. Wait, well, that's a regular line, so I don't know if any of this is damaged or not. Anyways, yeah. I finally found the bolt. So on the corner of that's broken off right here, there is a bolt. So far we found that at least on the top edges there's a bolt, but both sides are broken like that. So those may be the only bolts that hold that thing on there. And yeah, also, by the way, very bad idea to drive around without that cover on there, because you hit big bugs and even rocks kicking up from other cars and stuff. Gonna hit your radiator and AC condenser and could literally bust them and cause a leak. So you definitely don't want to do that. And that explains why this never sat right in there either. It was always like smashed against the bumper. So just hanging on by that one stinking pin there, which I think is mine that I put in there. And when it does finally cool down here in a week or two, I'm going to finally fix this. That way my freaking VTEC will work. I already got the piggyback kit to fix that. Or well, the VTEC works, but that's why it goes on limp mode after I hit VTEC a couple times, because this runner isn't switching to the other intake runners like it's supposed to, and then the computer realizes there's a problem, that it's not running as fast as it should, so it throws it into limp mode. So yeah, even when I hit VTEC, I'm not getting full power because that runner isn't switching over. It really sucks. And yeah, so all those ones on the bottom there, they're just plastic clips that, where are we at here, go in varying holes in the bottom of this core support. And I just discovered, you see that bend there? So this has been hit too. So the whole radiator core support, yeah, you can see that it's all bent. So that's going to be fun trying to get that to get back up in there and look right with the whole core support there that it buttons into being bent. So that's going to be a mild challenge. It just might look wonky. Hopefully I can get it, I mean, that thing's pretty flexible, get it buttoned back up in there. But yeah, no bolts down there. It's just not all these holes. These are just, some of this is just drain holes, but these smaller ones here, just there's little plastic push pins that go in there that got ripped out. So yeah, there's, I think, just 2 bolts then, if you were taking this off and it wasn't damaged, just one of those on each side, and that's it. Other than that, it's all those plastic push pins. So good thing I got a big collection of them now. I got off of Amazon to get this thing put back on right, or halfway right I should say, since it's all busted up. And I know it's ghetto as hell. I mean, this whole car is ghetto. But I think to keep these sides from popping, see how it's rubbing through the fender there? Because I hit bumps and stuff, and the corners always pop out, and then they pop back up here and they rub on the fender. So with that, the corner on each of them being broke, that one I mean, see, it's kind of broke, but I flipped that up. As long as I don't snap it off right now, I should be able to get that bolt back through. But obviously on this side, that whole section's missing. So like I said, ghetto, but without replacing the whole entire bumper cover there. Tractor. I think I'm gonna have to like get my hot glue gun out here and put a little patch of glue and shove it up in there. So that'll allow it to be somewhat easily removed in the future, but it should also keep it up in there. That way it doesn't keep popping up and rubbing on my fenders there. Anyways, I'm gonna get this thing set out in the sun for a little bit, let it get good and heated up, and then just stomp on the back side here, and hopefully with it being, you know, super hot to the touch and the 90-degree straight sun today, that it'll pop out without causing too much more damage, and hopefully without cracking or anything like that. So I'll see you in a second when we do that. All right, it's been sitting there in the sun about 20 minutes. It's pretty hot to the touch already, so I'm going to flip it upside down, bring it over in the grass here. There's a little divot there I'm going to try to pop that dent out into, just step on it basically. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a little tiny divot, you know, where it's been like that for God knows how long, at least a year, I'm sure. But and then once I pin that back up on the bottom, it won't drag anymore, so it looks a lot better, and I won't have it dragging on the freaking ground anymore. All right, so it's looking a lot better already. It's fitting around the headlights way better. And then this whole gap and sag thing here is fixed. So this piece actually has a track it follows and snaps into in there. And then there's 2 of these clips like roughly here and there that actually snap it together. After you get it snapped into that track, those will hold that. So you gotta put that on first with the whole bumper off, and then you slide it up as an entire assembly. So as you can see, I got this all buttoned down, which is why it's hanging so much better, on top of that having inlaid in the track like it's supposed to. So I just got to get my buttons in the bottom there and get to the sides there. And here's that kit I was talking about. So I'm not sure if it'll be the exact same one or not, but I'll put a link in the description to something like this, good assortment like that. These things are coming in super handy, man. I always hated going to the store and just buying like a little 4 or 5 pack at a time, this one, that one, and then like you would spend so much money buying those little packs to get this much. Just buy the whole freaking kit like this. I'll put a link in the description. It's like, I don't know, 15, 20, 25, something like that. But buying all these all individually at the auto parts store would probably cost you over $100. So I'll put a link in the description if you're looking to get yourself a set like that. Now this side's not going to be 100% because, as you can see, this fender's been hit and it's bent in right here. Actually, yeah, check out the lip from the light hanging out over the fender. So that's why that looks like that. So it's already over the snap tabs and everything. That's just as far as it's going to go in because this whole fender's bent in right here. But I'm probably still going to give it a little tack of hot glue up in there, like I said, to keep it from popping out and rubbing on the fender like it's always done. So yeah, there's where that big old dent was, and then you had that whole thing hanging down there. As you can see, that's no longer an issue. I got this, depending on the camera angle, but you should be able to see that bow there from where that core support was hit and bent. But I got all these tacked back up in there with some big fat guys here. I am having to use, you know, a few different ones, which is why it's good to have a selection like that to get everything to work. But the bottom's all buttoned up now. I see it's doing it already. See how it's popping out. Then I hit a few bumps and it's not really wanting to come up now because I actually got this thing hung in properly instead of zip ties now. But before, it would ride up on the fender. I don't think it's going to be an issue now, but I don't oh, come on, I don't want it looking like that going down the road. So I'm gonna, like I said, put a little dab of hot glue in there to hold it in place. So now I just got to do this side. This one, yeah, that one's still gonna rub the fender. So this one, like I said, it's half broken. I'm gonna be careful here, and I should be able to get that screw back in it, which will hold it in place for me. All right, well, there she is. Now, it's not gonna be perfect, obviously, but it's gonna help a lot better than it was. So I don't have that popping off anymore. I got that hung correctly in there. It looked like trash before. Got that huge dent out, which looked bad, but then also it had that thing hanging down, which made it look twice as bad. And then, like I said, it was rubbing on the, you know, pull out of the driveway, it rubs, pull in the gas stations, it rubs, and down the dirt roads and stuff, which unfortunately I have to drive down dirt roads to go to the range. And then, like I said, that's going to look like that because that fender's bent. But yeah, I mean, got it all taken care of. So finally addressed the bumper issue. It was way easier than I thought. I've done others where there's like, you know, those plastic clips are hard to, which I guess it would have been way more of a pain if it wasn't all busted, because it wouldn't have been so simple as just cutting a few zip ties and it pops off. I would have had to undo about a dozen of those, top and bottom, and then the bolts on the side. I mean, still not a big deal, but so anyways, next video should be correcting this. Like I said, I already have the new coupler with piggyback wires, so I just gotta, you know, splice them together and all that. But it's been so hot, I've been waiting for a decent day to do that, so that should be next. And I'll have to do some before and after runs once we get that fixed to see how much harder it pulls on top end when it hits VTEC, since then it'll be on the appropriate runners, provided that this thing actually switches over like it's supposed to. So I'll have to come up with some way to make sure that's occurring too. Although I could probably tell when I hit VTEC, if it pulls way harder, then okay, yeah, it's flipping open like it should. But that'll be the next one. Again, if you want a nice little plastic automotive clip set like that, I'll have a link up in the description. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. For you Eclipse guys, I got more Eclipse stuff coming up. Most of the subscribers on this channel are Eclipse people because that's what I started with. So most of y'all don't tune into the RSX or WRX stuff anyways, but I do have more stuff planned for the Eclipse coming up before winter. Doing more stuff to the WRX coming up within the next few months as well. And I still need to introduce you guys to the Rio. So anyways, catch you on the next one.